Welcome to your introduction on podcasts. I've created this video so that you can decide whether you want to be a podcaster or not. First things first, what is a podcast? A podcast is an audio-only program that's broadcast online for the purposes of entertainment and information. It usually involves either one person telling a story, one person interviewing another person, or a group of people having a discussion, either a debate or just to provide more information to the listener. The 5 things that you need to know about podcasts before you get started is 1. Communication. The communication in a podcast is audio only. People cannot pick up on your visual cues. That means when you roll your eyes, they don't know. So being sarcastic might be difficult. It becomes very difficult to explain something that you are seeing. If you have the gift to explain in words what you are visualizing, you will be a better podcaster. Another thing that you need to keep in mind is that people are focused, hyper-focused on your voice. So it's important to record yourself beforehand to make sure that you aren't saying any ums, likes, or anything else that can take away from the message. The second important thing that you need to understand about podcasts is content. Do you have an idea that people really want to hear? You have to know that before you start podcasting. You might do this by asking other people what kind of podcasts they like to listen to, or just going on Spotify or one of the podcasting platforms to see what's popular. The number 3 thing that you need to know about podcasting is equipment. You need to make sure that you have the proper equipment to make a podcast. Sometimes you can podcast with your phone. It doesn't take much, but making sure that the line is clear and that you are audible on the other end is very, very important, because it doesn't matter how great your podcast is. If people can't understand you, they're going to turn it off. The 4th thing that you need to know about podcasting is distribution. You can have a great podcast, record it, make sure it sounds great, but how do you get it to people? How do people hear you? You have to decide on a great podcasting platform to get your podcast out to people. I've used Anchor FM. There are many out there that you can choose from. It just depends on what kind of features that you need and that you think your listeners will like. The 5th thing that you need to understand about podcasting is monetization. You can make money off of your podcast through sponsorship. They will pay you to mention their business. One thing that I really like about podcasting is that I can reach people who are already listening to their music on Spotify and iTunes. It's already available for them and easy for them to find my podcast right after they're done listening to their workout pump-up music, and they can continue working out while listening to the podcast. Or it's something that they can do while they're driving, washing the dishes. People are more likely to listen to your podcast than to watch your videos because it requires less attention. They can go about their day and not be interrupted while they're performing tasks. One thing I don't like about podcasting is that everyone has a podcast. It's become so easy to make your own podcast and distribute it that everyone has a podcast now, especially since COVID. Think of all of the actors that were unable to go on location to film. Now they all have started their own podcasts, and it's really hard to compete with super famous people who already have a following. So it's important to find a unique subject that no one else is doing, or a unique format that really draws listeners in. Well, that is your introduction to podcasting. I hope that you'll consider all of the important topics that I have brought up about being a podcaster. Make sure that you check out Where Music Takes You on Spotify, iTunes, wherever it is you listen to your podcasts. And if you have any questions, reach out to me, wheremusictakesyou@gmail.com.